Hey guys, in the last video I showed you guys the XC Designs Heiser hatchet, and today I have their Tyrant RAZOR V3. But I figured we'll do a quick unboxing of it. We'll go over all the features and specifications. We'll put it to use, and then I'll give some thoughts on it. Show you around the box before we take everything out of it. You can see it's 2.4 ounces. It's got a deep carry clip. There is an optional pry bar, quick release blades, titanium. We'll go over a lot of this stuff here in a bit. And it's designed in the state of Washington here in the US. Some of it is made in China. I think that some of the CNC machining and stuff like that is done there. But let's get this cut open. Looks like it's sealed as well. Okay. So they have a little thank you card. Looks like an instruction manual. And this is the one that I specifically selected. These are completely customizable colors. I chose one without the little lanyard loop because I wanted it to be a little bit shorter, a little bit flatter, but I'll show you all the stuff that comes in here. So we have a whole bunch. I'm not sure how many's in there. Maybe it says here 10 extra blades, and I think there's probably a blade already on it. We'll see that. I'm not sure if these are SK2 or SK5 blades, but it doesn't say, and I don't see anywhere the size is there, but multiple sizes will work as far as like the thickness of the blade. So I don't want to take everything else out of here because it's packed away nicely, but you do get an extra pivot, you get extra screws. This does have the lanyard loop that would normally go on the end of this, but again, I had them purposely remove mine. It's got an extra lock bar insert, and then the tool to change stuff out. Let's go ahead and grab this out, and then I will show you guys that. So this would normally go on the back end of this, and then if you wanted to put a lanyard through there, they also make a little pry bar one that you could take this out and put a pry bar still with a loop on it. But again, I wanted mine to be off here. I showed you guys that thank you card earlier. On the back side of it is some contact information, their social media sites, an email address, and the owner is Josh Borum if you want to get in touch with them for anything. And to quickly show you guys the manual, just in case you get one of these and lose it, want it for reference. Shows you how to change out the blades. Shows you how to change out that rear spacer. Some maintenance recommendations, and then there's some blade compatibility. Alright, so here is the Tyrant RAZOR V3. Give you guys some close-ups of it. You can see it's got a flipper up here. It's our pivot. It's going to be a liner lock, deep carry clip, all right, let's check out the action, then we'll start going over some of the materials. Wow, that is super smooth. There's a little bit of oil right there. Not a big deal, but we'll clean that up. So I don't know how well the camera will pick this up, but the handles are actually a 6AL4V grade 5 titanium. Right there you might be able to see, but it's skeletonized to make it lighter. So they've actually like removed some of the material on that. The rear spacer is that same 6AL4V grade 5 titanium. I believe that the lanyard loop insert and then also the optional pry bar are also that same 6AL4V grade 5 titanium. Got a stainless steel blade holder. All of the screws are like high grade CNC stainless. The pocket clip is also some type of stainless. They do have a longer deep carry clip, or they have the short one here. And this is the lock. I guess it's more of a frame lock. I'll try to get you guys a close-up of how that engages and how much of it does. So maybe a third. It's not quite half, but once that locks in place, there's absolutely zero side-to-side movement and zero up and down play. That locks really solid. Grab you guys some dimensions and a weight. The length of mine is maybe 3 5/16. The overall width, just beyond maybe 3/4 of an inch. So maybe 13/16. The overall thickness is maybe 5/16. And again, the clip on mine is the shorter one. It's maybe 1 3/8 or so. They have one that comes down to like here, closer to 2 inches. Grab you guys a weight. Mine might be a little bit lighter because I have the shorter clip and I don't have that lanyard loop on the back, but we'll see if it's around 2.4. So 2.3 ounces. So I never had the Tyrant Razor like the version 1 or 2 to compare it to this new version 3. I do know that version 3 has like dual ceramic and brass caged bearings, and that flipper action is just super smooth and almost effortless. I mean, just the slightest little flick and that is coming out for you. I also know for version 3 that this is CNC machined, the pivot is, and it's a square shape, which allows your maintenance to be much easier. It's almost like self-captive. I mentioned earlier about the handles being skeletonized to reduce weight, and I don't think they had that on version 2. The locker insert has dual screws, which allows for a more solid lockup. Here in a bit, I'll show you guys how to change out the blades and stuff, but I know on version 3 that this lip right here is raised higher than what the previous versions were, which allow for you to change out the blades a little bit easier. And I also think it's a little bit thicker than what the previous versions were. A bunch of the hardware has been updated and upgraded for the version 3s as well. As far as like the stop pin diameter, they increased the size of that. They're using 4 bearing washers instead of 2. Upgraded screws that are a little bit deeper, easier for maintenance, just a whole bunch of upgrades on version 3. So let's see how difficult or easy it is to change this blade out. Obviously this is razor sharp, so be very careful as you're doing this. But it looks like we're supposed to push this over. Let me see if I can get this on camera for you guys. So we're going to push this over and then slide that out. Very, very simple. Let's see what the blade, I don't know if that was the same. That says Tajima. I think the other ones that were included are different. Let's see what these ones were. Yeah, they are different. I do know that this is supposed to work with like 99% of all trapezoid shape blades. All right, let's see how easy or difficult it is to put it back in. It should be the same thing. We're just going to push this over first. Kind of get this started in here. Lock up. Nice and solid. That's pretty easy to do. Completely toolless. Takes just a second to pull out and put one back in. I want to quickly give you guys like a size comparison. This is like my normal EDC knife right here. It's the Benchmade Mini Griptilian, and this is a small knife. Like the blade is 2 point something, maybe 2.8 inches or something like that. But it is significantly bigger than this Tyrant razor here. It's bigger in every dimension. It's significantly thicker, wider, longer, and this is tiny. So it just kind of gives you an idea of how small this thing really is. And this here is kind of a normal utility knife that a lot of guys carry on construction sites or people who lay carpet or whatever. This is similar in size to like the Milwaukee Fastback, stuff like that. Again, just you can see how much smaller this thing is. And this here, you have a significant amount sticking up out of your pocket, whereas this one, again, will be a deep carry. Another thing to show you is this one. You can kind of see how much of the blade sticks out there. You're actually going to have a whole lot more usable blade. See how much longer that cutting edge is on this one? Alright, let's try cutting a few things with it. This is just regular copy paper. Obviously this is a brand new blade, so I expect it to be, you know, pretty sharp. Yeah, this is crazy. It's razor sharp, obviously. You can make those as thin as you want. Alright, got an index card here, and these are different. These are like twice the thickness of a regular index card, and a lot of blades actually struggle getting through these. It's probably hard to tell on camera, but this is like a real rigid. It's like even thicker than like cardstock. But that's going through it no problem. Try some rope here next. Again, I don't anticipate any issues or any trouble. I'm going to put just a little bit of pressure and just see. Yeah, that just goes through that like it's nothing. Do a box next. I think that's what a lot of us use our knives for. Opening packages, and so the paper tape on here or whatever, no problem at all going through any of that. Let's see about the cardboard itself. Yeah, no problems at all. This thing is nice. I did want to show you guys what a typical utility knife looks like sticking up out of your pocket. I mean, I cannot go any deeper than that right there. And so that's how much you have sticking up. And then compare that to the Tyrant razor. You can see there's practically nothing sticking up out of your pocket. And just the overall footprint is just so much smaller in that pocket. Again, if you look at like the overall width, I mean, it's almost like two of those, but yet they use the same blade. Alright guys, I've had this Tyrant razor for probably close to 3 weeks or so now. I've been using it every single day as my EDC knife. You know, normal tasks, opening packages, breaking down boxes, maybe like cutting zip ties off of stuff once you get it out of the package. You know, just normal use stuff for a knife. So I figured I'd share some of my thoughts with you. I'm not a knife expert. I'm just a guy who carries and uses one pretty much every single day. First thing I'll say is a couple little negatives. And they're not necessarily negatives, or just things that I've observed really. But I think like the world population is like 90% right-handed. And this was clearly designed for somebody who's right-handed, which I am, which works perfect for me. You know, opening it, anybody can do it. Even if you're left-handed, you can flip that open, no problem at all. Closing it, however, from here, it's really designed with this frame lock to take your thumb and push it kind of towards your other fingers and then be able to close it all one-handed. When you do it left-handed, you can't get it from like this. So you kind of have to flip your knife like this and then do it here and then get your thumb back out of the way. So it's not quite as easy. It can still be done pretty fast. And I'm not left-handed. I have kind of messed with this a little bit. just to kind of get familiar with how it works, but it's just a little bit more awkward doing it that way. The other thing is changing out those blades. Again, they have that little lip right there. This is a little bit wider, but it's designed to take your right thumb, push that away, and then pull that blade out. Now on that one, I think even if you are left-handed, you're going to have to probably do it that way. I don't know of any way of really holding this in your left hand because you wouldn't be able to see it. You probably could take your first finger. It gets a little bit kind of sketchy if you can't see kind of where it's at. So I would probably still recommend doing this with your right hand. Just try to figure that part out. And I guess my third kind of small complaint, I don't know if they all come this way. I mean, I know you have to keep your knives oiled, but it seems like mine is like significantly over oiled. Again, I've had this 3 weeks or so, and every time I slide a blade out, it's coated in oil. I have oil all around this pivot. It seems like every time I use this, I end up getting oil all over my fingers. And one other small little kind of silly complaint is with this packaging. So they had this label right here, and I cut it when I opened it, not realizing that this was just kind of like loose like this, and the stuff can like fall through and stuff. And I almost wish this came like in a little box, because I do want to keep all of my screws and pivots and all the stuff kind of together. And I don't think the rest of the stuff is going to fall out because it is kind of pressed into this foam. But it would have been nice just to, and unfortunately I couldn't like slide this out. This thing was too tight on here to be able to slide this out. So I almost wish it came in some kind of like small box or something. I know that sounds silly, but so what I'll probably end up doing now is just getting this back on here fairly tight and then putting some packaging tape or something on here to kind of make sure nothing falls out of it. So I'll talk about pricing in just a bit, but like, why would somebody buy this Tyrant razor over just any other type of razor blades? Because this is basically all it is just a really fancy razor blade. And you can pick like these kind up for a couple bucks, you know, maybe like $10 or $15. That one's close to 20, but you know, this is going to be significantly more. So one of the first reasons to get this over something like this is just the size. This is so lightweight. It's so compact. The action on this is so smooth to deploy and to bring it back down. And then that detent, you hear that there, is really, really, really good as well. This here, it's even hard to open single-handed, and you for sure cannot close it single-handed. This one has a lock back there, so you have to use two hands to close that. So just the action on this is so good. The ability to have a sharp blade anytime that you want it. It only takes a second to swap that out. You can even flip it around and use the other end for a while. But just always being able to have a sharp blade and not have to get out a stone or anything like that to sharpen your regular knife. Mentioned it and demonstrated it earlier, but the lockup on this thing is super tight. There is absolutely zero play up and down, zero play side to side. It is really solid. You can tell that a lot of thought went into the overall design of this, which the design was done in the USA and it was assembled in the USA. And you can tell that even the parts, even though they may have came from China, where they're premium parts, just the quality is top notch on this. There are lots of things that you can customize on these. They're modular. If you want to have different scales or handles on, if you want one to be one black and a different one to be gray, you can do that. If you want the hardware to be different color, if you want the clip to be a different color or different length, there's lots of things that you can change out on these. Again, I've only had this for 3 weeks, but I can tell already that this thing is going to be super durable. These really are, I think, built to last a lifetime. Another reason to get this over one of these styles or whatever is just, this just looks so much sexier and sleeker. Again, imagine these in your pocket and pulling this one out. This just looks awesome versus something like this. Another reason to pick this one is just the pure fun or fidget factor. I will literally sit around for an hour just opening and closing this. I know it sounds dumb, but it's so fun just to be able to sit there and flick that thing open. And one final reason is just the concealability of this. Again, I showed earlier in those jeans, basically you cannot see this. Whereas this, you have that whole big chunk sticking up out of your pocket. And this just, again, looks nicer. And people don't know that you have, a knife really on you. So let's get around to talking about pricing before we end the video. These are not cheap. They start off in the $80 range. And they have a lot of different models, different colors. Some of the colors start off a little bit more. They have different handles or scales. This one coming up here, let me see, right there's the one that I end up picking, and that does start at $135. But again, you don't have to get that kind. You can even buy individual scales if they may have it somewhere on this page. Let me go back to the actual version that I got so it's this one right here. This is my specific model. And let's click on that. I'll show you. That's the longer clip that's on it right there. Mine only comes to where the little, see, it's just beyond that little like groove area, so you can see the length difference. And then these are some of the options that you can get. You can add different bearings if you want, add screw sets, add the different clips, and then you can also do the delete, which is what I did right here, the linear loop delete. So there's a lot of things you can do, and then you can order parts separate. But yeah, they have a whole page that's dedicated to basically like custom parts, different color clips, color hardware. So you can get so many different things and really make the knife exactly how you want it. And all the part prices are very reasonable. So moving forward, this will continue to be my EDC knife, probably until they come out with a version 4 of the Razor or something. This thing is so sweet. Yeah, it's pricey, but it's absolutely worth it. If it did something worse than what these other knives do, as far as the actual function and stuff, I'd say maybe not. But $80 to $100 or even $150 is definitely worth it. Something that's going to last you a lifetime, and it's really friggin' cool. But like I said, I will leave a link to XC Designs on the video description. If they have these available on Amazon, I'll look. If they are, I'll leave a link for that down in the description as well. If you guys found the video helpful or informative in any way, please give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it on this one. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.